Welcome back, friends. Today we are going to be cooking a nice thick ribeye steak out there on the Big Green Egg, but we're going to be doing it a little differently than we have in the past. Now what we usually do is what most people do with the Big Green Egg. We get that thing up to really hot temperature, 600 plus degrees, sear your steak on both sides, shut those vents down, let that baby cook in there for another 3 to 4 minutes depending on how you like your steak. It tastes really good over lump charcoal. We really won't cook steaks any other way here at the Goat Ranch, except in the winter when it's really cold and nasty outside. I'll do one on a cast iron skillet, finish it off here in the oven. Works out pretty good, but it's just not the same that it is over either wood or lump charcoal. So we're gonna do two things a little different, see how we like it. The first thing we're gonna do is brine this ribeye with a dry brine for 24 hours in the refrigerator. Then we're gonna take it out, let it come up to temperature, throw it out here on the Big Green Egg, except instead of 600 degrees, we're gonna go indirect heat for 275. It's gonna be a reverse sear than what we're used to doing. And once that thing reaches about, I'm guessing 118 or so, maybe 120, I'm gonna take it off. We're gonna use an internal probe so I can monitor it. We're gonna take it off the Big Green Egg, and then I'm gonna get that thing back up to temperature, searing temperature around 600. We're gonna throw it back on the egg, sear it for 1 minute on each side, and hopefully we're gonna come up with a perfectly cooked ribeye, about medium rare, just the way we like it. So let's get started with the brining process, and I'll show you how that works. Now I want you to look at this gorgeous ribeye we have here. This thing is 1.5 inches thick, and I had the butcher cut it off the little end. And when you cut it off the little end, you tend to get more of this marbling here. At least that's my experience. And all this here, that's just steak butter is what I call it. And I think this is gonna be super flavorful. This one weighs about 1.1 pounds, and it's just about what we need for around here. Now, if you're gonna do this reverse sear process, you probably want something 1.5 inches or bigger, because it just doesn't seem to work as well with the thinner ones from what I understand. And the ones you're gonna find that are already cut by the butcher and out for sale, those are usually around 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches, but very seldom do we find any that are 1.5 inches. So if you got a butcher right there at your meat counter, ask him to cut you one, have him cut you a boneless ribeye like this one, and have him cut it off the little end. Now the next thing we're gonna do is a pretty simple process. There's no black magic here at all involved, and all we're gonna do is get this ready for brining. And you don't need any special secret herbs and spices. All you need is some good old kosher salt. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna coat this really well. Don't be shy. Make sure it gets in there really good. Some people completely cover it, but we're gonna use more than I normally would on my regular grilling. We're gonna do both sides. And we're also gonna do the ends. And make sure you're using coarse kosher salt too. Pretty much anytime you watch a chef do this, watch 1,000,000 videos on it, they're gonna say, hey, coarse kosher salt 99.9% of the time. Back side too. Make sure it's in there. Man, if my wife saw this, she would freak out. She'd be telling me about my blood pressure going up. So we're gonna let that rest in the refrigerator for 24 hours. We're gonna pull it out and get that thing on the grill, and I think we're gonna have an awesome steak. I want you to take a look at what this dry brine process has done to this steak. It looks completely different. All of that coarse salt has been completely absorbed. I forgot to mention, when we're putting it in the refrigerator, you want to have it on a rack just like this, because you want that air to circulate underneath the meat as well. But it has changed color completely, and the texture is not even remotely what it was. It was kind of falling apart earlier, and now it's all nice and tight. So I think this is going to be really a great steak. Now we had to call an audible. We were going to do a 24-hour brine, but storms came through yesterday and we just had to continue on another day. So we've got a 48-hour dry brine going here, and that's not a problem because time is your friend when you're doing this. So I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. I think it's just going to enhance the flavor of the meat. The only thing we're going to do to it is let it come up to temperature a little bit because it has been in the refrigerator. We are going to season it with some coarse ground pepper, and then we're going to insert our ThermoWorks thermometer probe right into the center so we can monitor the temperature. And I've got the alarm set to go off at about 118 degrees so I can just kind of keep an eye on it, and I plan to take it off around 120, 122 degrees, and then we'll get it ready for our high heat sear out there on the big green egg. So let me get this seasoned up and let's get it out on the grill. We are ready to go on with this beautiful steak here. Indirect heat on the big green egg. Oh yeah, just look at that. Got our probe there. Just to let you know, temperature on the steak is 42 degrees. That's what we're starting out with. Let's start our stopwatch and just see how long it takes us to get up to temperature. We're in no hurry. We're going to try and maintain 275 degrees, and with our ThermoWorks thermometer here, we'll be able to do that. And I don't have to keep running in and out because I have the remote monitoring station here with me too. So let's just wait it out and see how it goes. Well, we're at 120 degrees and it took 41 and a half minutes, so I wasn't far off. Let's see what we got. Pretty ugly looking steak, as we expected. Let's get that probe out. And turn that thing off. And that's what we're looking at. Kind of a gray looking steak. But that's okay, because we're not finished. We're just going to put some foil over that and let it sit until we get the temperature up on the big green egg. And then it's going to be sear time. Well, as you can tell, we have run out of daylight, but we're up to about 625 degrees, and we are going to go ahead and sear this steak 1 minute on each side. So let's burp that baby just a little bit. Here we go. 1 minute. Going to do both sides, and then we're going to take it in and let it rest for just a little bit. Okay, we're done on both sides. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, baby, you better have these gloves on. Looks pretty good to me. Oh yeah. We're going to temp it just to kind of see where we are. Since we are experimenting, we don't want to screw up too bad. $135. I think we'll go with that. So let's take it inside and we're going to give it a little bath in some garlic butter. Oh yeah, just look at that. Just look at that. That is just gorgeous. We're going to let this thing just kind of rest. And we're just going to give it a little salted butter here with some couple cloves of crushed garlic in there. We are just going to let it rest just like that for 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to cut into it and I think this is gonna be some badassery. Well, we've had about a 5-minute rest here. This is the moment of truth. So let's just see how we did. Seems to be pretty tender. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. 2-day brine. Dry brine, reverse sear. This is a meat that I buy from the same place quite a bit, cook it the same way, so I know how it tastes the way I've been cooking it. Much different flavor. I'll be doing this from now on, if time permits, that is. And even if it doesn't permit, if you can just get a dry brine on there for a couple, 3 hours, that's supposed to be pretty good too. I think our numbers were pretty close. It's about 45 minutes to get it up to 120 degrees. We did a 1 minute per side hot sear at about 625 on the big green egg, and that gave us almost a medium rare. Just a hair on the rare side, but I think it's pretty darn close. I could have gone another, maybe left it on to about 122, 124 degrees and then seared it. But I think this is just an awesome way to cook a steak. So if you got any ideas, reverse searing that you've done, let me know. But I think you'll be well advised to try this one out. So until next time, you guys be safe, and we hope to see you down the road. Time for more steak. Oh, and this badass Cabernet I've got too from Rosenblum, and baked potato in the oven. Adios.